Hi everyone, and welcome to an update video. She's here. I mean, of course, it is me. Why would it be anyone else? I own this channel, and so far I haven't really had any guests on or anything like that, any other people on, but might change that soon. Anyway, where have I been? Where have the videos been? Because it's been a little longer than usual since I've uploaded my last one. Well, the explanation for that is actually very, very simple. My graphics card died. So the one I had was I thought it was actually yeah. So I thought my graphics card was nice and decent and recent. Well, actually rhymes, but it turns out it's not actually. It was I think around about 2 years old, maybe even 4 years old. Yeah. So I got a new one of the more recent ones, and everything seems to be working just fine right now. I was actually a little concerned that all my little desktop icons get moved around, but they didn't. And what did you might not be wondering this, but I want to try and show you anyway. So using the power of one of my editing programs, Camtasia, I'm going to try and put in an edit right about now that makes it look like what basically I'll try and make it look like what I saw when my graphics card actually died, because it didn't happen when I was away from my computer. It happened when I was there. And just in case I can't do the editing justice and the Camtasia doesn't actually have a good preset thingamajig to whatchamacallit to it does have a good preset to make it look, oh yeah, to make it look like what it should look like. I'll explain what it looked like. So I was just watching a average YouTube video, nothing really out of the ordinary, and then suddenly little black pixels appeared all over the screen, like my screen slowly started to pixelate, and then right after that the entire screen just went black. Now, I actually had a feeling it was the graphics card dying because the sound was still working, and I'm not sure about this, but I might have even been able to press the spacebar at one point to pause the video, because that is a common command in most PCs. You press the spacebar to play and start the video. And since the screen was totally black because the graphics card had died, I couldn't really click on anything. And then I asked a friend of mine for help, since I'm not that good when it comes to computers and that kind of stuff. And he went and he got the plug that would like lead to the graphics card and just stuck it in some other part of my computer. I'm not even really sure which part he stuck it in, but it used like just the base graphics settings for my computer, because I before had been using an NVIDIA graphics card, and now I'm actually using another more recent NVIDIA graphics card. But he just stuck it into like the GPU or the CPU, one of those things. Like I said, I'm not too good with the computers, so I don't really know which one he stuck it in, but it was using just the base graphics settings for my computer, but I didn't really dare upload anything or like render it or anything with any of my editing programs, because I think it might use the CPU, which is connected to the graphics card. So, and also as well as that, right in the middle of all that, while my graphics card was broken and I just was sitting there and couldn't edit any videos, or really wasn't really going to risk recording anything, because I'm very, very cautious when it comes to taking care of my computer. So all I was really doing is watching YouTube videos and looking up stuff on websites like TV Tropes, which is this website where basically they explain tropes. It's great for writing. Anyway, I wasn't really looking up. I wasn't not really looking up, but I wasn't really playing any games on like Steam or Guild Wars 2 or anything like that. And I'm actually very glad I didn't, because at one point when I opened too many tabs, my computer actually, like, the screen flickered for a moment and I had to switch to Windows 7 basic graphics. So if you've ever seen me like playing a Windows Media Player thingamajig in one of my videos, you notice there's like this little red X at the top, and I've got it set at like, that's because I use Windows 7. In fact, I think most versions of Windows would have that red X. I'm not really sure about 8 or 10 or 9 though, but I know XP and the stuff before, like, at least Windows XP had that. Anyway, that went and changed to a worse looking version because it was using Windows 7 basic graphics. Basic graphics is what the computer will switch to whenever it feels kind of overloaded, to kind of alleviate like some pressure on the system. So if opening just a few YouTube tabs, I'm talking about maybe just like only about a dozen, like sometimes it opened even more, was causing it to do that. I'm really glad I didn't to go and play any games and ruin any parts of my computer. But yeah, it's all fixed now. And since I've explained, oh yeah, and of course I also, as I said, got sick. But the good thing is I got over that cold because I actually have quite a good immune system, at least I think I do. And I got over the cold while I was trying to get my graphics card fixed. So kind of like crushing two birds in one stone, that kind of thing. I was actually kind of happy about that I got the call then and not now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So yeah, basically moving on from that, I didn't want this just to be an update video. So I'm now going to cut to me in Warframe because I've actually had this idea in my mind for a while, and I've wanted to explain why I'm actually not too happy with Warframe's trading system and why I like Guild Wars 2's trading system a lot more. I know I can keep just talking here in Dark Audacity, the program I used to record my voice right now. But I'd rather honestly go in Warframe because I need to show you a bunch of things that are actually in the game. So yeah, I'll see you there. Okay, here we are after the cut in Warframe. I'm going to give you a little bit of a warning now that this will probably come off as a bit of a rant. I'm going to try and not, well, totally go bonkers here, but yeah, I may end up sounding a bit passionate about this stuff because honestly, it's been on my mind for a while and it's gotten me quite frustrated at certain points, and you'll see why. So let's at first just press. I'm gonna press T here. Don't know why it typed it down there, but this here brings up the chat menu. I could go, of course, go into my console over here, like this one right here, and bring up the planets, but then you'd have just the noise of the planets in the background, and I'd rather less noise, so I'm just going to bring it up here. Then, of course, you scroll over to trade chat. This is the main way of making money in Warframe, or the game's premium currency. That's called platinum. If you ever want to know how much platinum you have, just go over to this, the market, and then press X on it. I guess it would be X either way. But yeah, every single way it's X. It's X on a PlayStation 4 controller, it's X on an Xbox controller, and it's X on the keyboard like I'm using right now. So once you open the market, it will show you all these specials and like the latest stuff that's around, and they're like kind of a bit like advertisements, I guess. But the main thing you're looking for is here. This shows how much platinum you have. I got 9 currently, so that basically means I'm poor as shit. So, yeah, a good way to like tell if someone either has a lot of platinum or not much is just look up this, a catalyst, an Orokin catalyst. So this only costs 20 platinum. It's a very low amount. If someone basically can't afford one of these, it means they're probably, well, quite poor. Maybe not in real life, but when it comes to how much platinum they own in Warframe, they are quite poor. Which is actually an okay thing. Like, there's nothing against being poor, because as I'm about to explain, it can be quite difficult to actually make it in the World of Warframe, and I don't know why I call it World of Warframe. This isn't World of Warcraft or anything. Just in Warframe, it can be quite difficult to make it. Right, so now let me just go to the actual main thing I want to go to, the trading screen. Okay, so first it will come up with a bunch of these things right here, which are basically disclaimers. Don't worry, if there's too many things being posted here and this keeps on scrolling up, then I will basically just scroll up myself, and that will stop it from auto-scrolling, and then in that case I'll be able to read this. In fact, I'm just going to read this now to you and explain what each of these things mean. So first, trading is done within the dojo at a trading post or in Maru's Bazaar. So let me just minimize this for a minute. Oh wait, it's still going because I'm on that chat. Okay, let me just go to my clan chat because there's not really many people on right now, and all there is that little message. Okay, so first to start off with me explaining. What that there means is that to trade with someone, you either will have to go to 2 places. You will either have to go to someone's dojo, or go to the trading post, which is or go to Maru's Bazaar and trade stuff. So here is actually Maru's Bazaar, and this actually it's weird because in a way this is the worst place to trade stuff at, because it has a set trade tax on it. What do I mean by trade tax? Well, if we just go over to the market again, right here it will display how many credits you have. Credits are the non-premium currency, and they are... okay, I don't know if you can see that, but Malwarebytes just popped up, be like, hey, you want a VPN? No thanks, not really right now. You might have not been able to see that, but that's why I just randomly moved my mouse down there. If you don't know what Malwarebytes is, it's an antivirus program which lately has more pop-ups than usual. I may have to figure out a way to actually uninstall that program because it's getting kind of annoying. It doesn't really seem to be doing too much for me. Anyway, enough about that. Back to credits. So, this here displays how many credits you have. I have over 1 million right now, but trust me when I say this amount can go down fast. Very, very fast. So, what is a trading tax? Well, how it works is that if you have Mara's Bazaar, or if you are at a dojo, and they have a tax, it will take off this amount. So, you already need to pay credits to trade at all. Like, let me give you an example. This might not be the case, and this might not be the correct amount. In fact, I'm kind of just pulling this number out of my ass. But let's say you wanted to trade for the most basic mod there is, ammo drum. Don't do this, by the way. Ammo drum is super common. But let's just say you're trading for ammo drum for some reason. You would have to pay an amount of credits to even trade for it. Like, you'd have to pay an amount of credits to receive the ammo drum, and the person you are trading with would have to pay a certain amount of credits to receive the platinum you're giving them. Usually, platinum always costs more credits to receive. Like, it always nearly costs more credits to receive platinum than it does to receive a mod or something like that. Unless, of course, it's a really, really expensive mod. So that's basically how, well, trading works with like a base. Let's just call that the base price. So that's the base price you have to pay for trading. Then sometimes certain things like Maro's Bazaar will actually have a trading tax, and you can see this as well if you go to a dojo and actually just access the trading post. In fact, I'm just going to go to the dojo of the clan I'm in to show you what I mean. Should only take a few moments to load. Yeah, I don't know who put the snowmen everywhere, but they're there even when it's not winter, because I guess one of our clan members just loves snowmen. Right, so here's what I mean. This is where you basically access the trading post. It's not always right at the start when you spawn into your dojo, but that's generally what you want to do to make it really easy for people to trade with you. So this is what I was talking about here. Clan tax is currently at 0%. What does this mean? This means you are not taxed any extra credits when you come trade at this dojo of the clan I'm in. No tax whatsoever. So it's only the base cost of items. So let's say you wanted to trade an ammo drum and it costed 1,000 credits to receive. That's all you'd have to pay. Now, let's say there was a clan here who put their trading tax at 10%. That means you have to pay 10% of whatever credits anything is worth. A really, really good example is that ammo drum, because it's nice, easy math and it's super easy to work out. 10% of 1,000 is 100. There, like I said, dead simple. So you add that on. So if this clan here I'm in had a trading tax of 10%, you would have to pay 1,100 to receive your ammo drum instead of just paying 1,000 to receive it. Thing is, with clans, when there is a trading tax, that money will then go to the clan, which can then be spent to build new rooms and place new decorations, because some new decorations in clans actually cost credits. I'm pretty sure I'm actually designated as an architect here. So if I were to click decorate, and then I go into like this free camera mode here that I can move around really easily and basically fly, and then I press 1 on my keyboard, then here is basically all the rooms that there are. And this shows also this basically shows what the clan has built. So there's like 4 of these energy clouds. Wait, no, there's 29 available in storage. So the clan I'm in has already built these things. But let me just try and go to something else that they okay, apparently they have pretty much built nearly everything here, but I forgot. I can just click on it. So yeah, here, you can see the build requirements. It costs 2,250 credits, and it will also cost salvage, rubido, plastids, and gallium. This is what I was talking about. And the tax people will have to pay for trading at a dojo would then go into your dojo bank, which then can be basically withdrawn by a person with a high enough rank, basically a guild banker. I don't know what Warframe actually refers to that term as. And then they can basically withdraw the money and then put it into stuff like this wooden bridge to build it, and also to build new rooms. But For the most part, it's really for decorations. You don't really need it too much. And if you have a bunch of very wealthy people, then they can just go around, and I'm not talking about platinum wealthy either, by the way. I'm just talking about credit wealthy. So if you have if you have a bunch of people who have a lot of credits, let's say 3 million credits, 3 times more than what I have, they could fund a lot of dojo decorations and even new rooms without needing to have any taxes that people have to pay who are trading at your dojo. Also, having a 0% tax rate at your dojo makes it very inviting for a lot of people to then trade at your dojo, because why would you want to go to another dojo that has a higher tax rate? Because then you're just paying extra. Right, so that is the benefits of trading at a dojo. Also, one last thing. Warframe has been updated where even though in that little trading blurb that I just read about Maro's Bazaar and everything and trading at the dojo, they say you need a trading post. You actually don't anymore. If you hold down Q, or whatever, this is on PC by the way, or whatever the equivalent is on console, either PlayStation 4 or Xbox, it's whatever button you've set up to basically bring up your gear wheel. That's the button that will enable this. You can just click set up shop, and then you choose a few items to display. Like I'm just going to choose whatever randomly pops up here as soon as it loads. So Afterburn for Chroma, and Afterburner, which is a Archwing mod. And then I can click offer items, and then accept items, and I'll raise my hand up like this, basically indicating, hey, I'd like to trade, and you can even walk around like this. Your speed is somewhat slowed down. You can't jump, but this is really good in my opinion, because now you don't even need to build a trading post. Although a trading post is sometimes where people like to go to, because sometimes this doesn't work as well. Warframe can be a little bit buggy. So if you want to stop doing that, you just click close shop, and then you will remove those items, and you'll have to select them again if you want to start trading with them. And yeah. Just generally, that's how trading works. Now, let me go to Maru's Bazaar, and I'm actually realizing that this video has kind of devolved into a video on how to trade in Warframe. But honestly, I don't really care, because I like teaching people, and this is an excellent way to learn, and it also actually ties into what I'm saying, because if I explain all of this in really, really intricate detail, and be really precise and concise when explaining it, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you know what all my pet peeves are, and you understand my arguments and why I'm a little bit frustrated with the general trading system in Warframe much better than if I just went in here and assumed you did know everything. And if you do know everything, then I might try and put like a bit of a time skip in here, so if you don't need to hear me talk about the basics of trading. Okay, so I'm going to Maru's Bazaar right now, and...
Hey, came to trade? Or did you find some Iatan treasures you want endo from?
She's actually wrong, I'm doing neither. This is actually pretty much a terrible time to come here, because the only person who's here is this limbo with bats flying off them. I don't even know how they got that. It's probably some kind of Halloween event I missed out on because my graphics card crashed at that point. So, what people will normally do around here is walk around like that NPC is doing right here, this NPC right here. And they'll kind of be walking around and posting in the relay chat, this relay right here, and be basically saying stuff like, oh, I want to buy such and such, willing to trade such and such. But I've came here when this place is basically dead, there's no one here. Like, it's not going to stay dead forever. There are probably going to be people who return here. But there's no one, like, normally you find a bunch of people clustered around this statue, all with their hands raised like I was, trying to sell their wares. So, the upside of Maru's Bazaar is that it can be a different place to find stuff, because obviously, people who are at Maru's Bazaar will be trying to trade with everyone else who is at Maru's Bazaar, and won't generally be trying to trade with anyone in the trade chat. The downside is that this place can be a bit of a mess. You can sometimes have people like walking around this statue, and like, let's say I was just standing here, just standing here not moving around because I want people to just come to me and press X if they want to trade with me, and then we'll like talk it over in private messages. Then you sometimes, let's say I'm another player right here, you sometimes have just a noob, not knowing what's really going on, they'll kind of like walk over with their hand raised, walk right up to you, kind of spin around again, and walk away all confused and like not really knowing what's going on. And it's kind of sometimes literally just, well, a cluster of noobs sometimes here, walking around in circles, not really bumping into each other, but phasing through each other because you can't bump into each other, and generally kind of mucking up each other's trades. So that's why I actually don't prefer to trade at Moe's Bazaar. Another reason is because I'm pretty sure this place is a 15% trade tax, and you're not even giving to a clan. Like what I was explaining before with a clan, if you pay the clan's trade tax, the credits will go to the clan. If you pay the trade tax here, the credits will go to Maru, but since Maru is just a bunch of code and pixels designed by DE and it's basically an AI, she doesn't even really move around here, so she's not even coded to move. She's just coded to say certain words when you click on her options and talk to her. So even though I like her pretty much as a character, I can't acknowledge that she's an AI. So any credits that you get taxed for here will go into the void. They'll go into oblivion. They will literally be deleted by DE, which is, it's not a bad thing, but I'd honestly rather be paying no tax at all, or if I was paying a tax, I'd rather be paying it to a clan, so that's why I don't actually often go here. So yeah, I'm now going to exit Maru's Bazaar, because honestly, those bats coming out of that limbo was distracting. Right, so now that all that's explained, let's go back over to the trade tab window and let me explain the other stuff it says. Oh wow, people have said a lot. I hope I can actually scroll up to the top. Okay, good, I can. So, you can invite non-members of your clan to your dojo to trade. That's actually pretty self-explanatory because, why wouldn't you? Not all items can be traded. Set up shop in Maro's Bazaar to see what you can offer and buy. This is actually an excellent tip because if you were to press set up shop like I did in the dojo before or at Maro's Bazaar, then you could actually see what you could potentially sell. Like a new player might come in here and be like, oh, I don't really want my Skana anymore because I think it's actually quite a bad weapon because that's actually one of the first swords ever. It's not super duper terrible. Like I'm pretty sure there's worse weapons in it than the plasma sword, but it's pretty basic and you can get a lot of things that are better than it. So a lot of players will want to get rid of them. And new players might be like, oh, I can sell my Skana. No, you actually can't. You can't sell it at all. You can only trade one type of Skana, and that's the Prisma Skana that you get from Barrow Katia. And I don't think you can trade the Skana Prime because I'm pretty sure you got that only with Excalibur Prime, and you have to be a founder way back when, and no one can actually buy it anymore because you have to be a founder to get it. It's kind of like golden wrenches in TF2. The amount of them that's around and like actually in the game is slowly dwindling. Except with golden wrenches, I'm pretty sure you can actually maybe trade them in TF2. In this case, you can't. Then of course, next tip is, or like blurby thing here, you must have mouse rank 2 or higher and a two-factor authentication enabled in order to trade. Now, normally, what a two-factor authentication means is that it'll be basically linked up to your phone. An excellent example is Steam right now. Hold on, let me just get rid of this text again. So, Steam with trading. How that works is that if you try and post something on the Steam community market and try and sell it, let's say you're just trying to sell a crate in TF2 for 3 cents, because that's the lowest amount that everyone else is doing as well. Let's say you post a crate. To post the crate at all, Steam will then send you a randomly generated number that you will get as kind of an email or a notification on your phone. Then you would open up your phone. It has to basically be an iPhone, or maybe it can perhaps be an iPad. I'm not really that sure. Usually we're talking about smartphones here. Actually, no, that's what I meant. Smartphones, not iPhone. It could be an Android as well. Any kind of stuff like that. Samsung, Apple, whatever. Just the smartphone. So then you'd open up your smartphone, look at the number, and type in the number. It sounds like a huge pain in the ass because it is. But the reason why you want to do that is security. Because it is a number that keeps on changing. How the heck is a hacker going to get access to that number unless they have your phone? And if they have your phone, they'll still need to know the email address of your Steam account and your password. And there are a lot of functions you can have in this day and age where you can just remotely go to like whatever phone provider you have and say, hello, I'd like you to lock my phone or even wipe its data. And then the person who stole your phone could be looking at it and suddenly everything just gets deleted and they can't access anything and they're just sitting there grumbling. So yeah, that kind of stuff. Warframe's two-factor authentication works differently. Basically, how I did this, and from what I remember, is that Warframe needed two-factor authentication, except it worked differently than what I just said just then. They sent me an email, I basically clicked it, and clicked a button confirming that no, I am not a robot, I am not a hacker, I own this account, and then I was able to trade and only had to do it once. So I'm not even really sure how good of a security measure that is, but I'm generally very safe with my passwords and stuff and don't really reveal anything on YouTube videos anyway, so I should be pretty safe. Really hope I didn't jinx myself there. Anyway, never mind. Moving on. So yeah, that's how Warframe's two-factor authentication works. I don't really understand how that works. So that's what it means by two-factor authentication. You have to go do that. I may make a video on how to do that sooner in the future, but I'm pretty sure there's already videos on YouTube that already explains how that works. Right. So now that I've explained all the blurbs up here, I can explain how trading actually works. Because if you were just to scroll through this and be a new player, you wouldn't know what anyone here is talking about. So I'll explain it right now. There are two very, very common terms when trading, and that is WTT, WTB, and WTS. This is what they stand for. WTB stands for want to buy. In other words, I want to buy it. So this person here, Jam, and then a weird-looking face that looks all surprised and probably shocked, says WTB, little arrow thing, dual rounds. And they have linked it in the chat by typing brackets around it. So let me just show you how to do that. I can actually do the exact same thing. So you type bracket, and then you just type down what you want. So dual R, it already like makes it display. So by typing this, the game will then use its search function to try and figure out what you are typing. So since I typed dual and an R, it doesn't have to be capitalized, by the way, the game will then come up with dual rounds because it thinks I want to say that. Then you click it, and then it'll finish it for you, and then you press enter in chat. This is kind of a new feature, by the way. I've just posted this in my clan chat, so no one will get confused because there's nearly no one on right now. And then it actually becomes a clickable link. So if you click it, you can then see the mod. And this is really, really good, and this is an excellent way to actually start trading if you are trading, because this is really, really good for newbies. Because by clicking on it here, I can see what the mod is, and then now that I know what the mod is and what it looks like, I can look it up on the wiki to see where it drops, because then I can potentially farm it, and then I can go and sell it to the person who owns it. It also displays how many of them you own and how many of them you do, if you own it and how many of them you do own. This is just, oh my god, it's such good game design. There's some other games with just UI and stuff that makes no sense. This makes perfect sense, and I love this linking system. Right, so now you know how the links work and what the term WTB means. WTS is pretty much the same thing, where they want to sell something. So this person here wants to sell Atlas Prime set. So you click on it, and it will display Atlas Prime here, one of the new Warframes. So he wants to sell an entire set, meaning you won't have to go and look for any of the parts. If you're saying selling set minus systems, or neuroptics, that means basically minus neuroptics would mean it's missing the head, so you have to go find your own Atlas head to build the Warframe, and either open it by relics or trade it with another player. But a whole set means that it's good to go. You can buy it off them, have all the parts, and as long as you have one Warframe slot open, you can then build Atlas. Of course, you also still need the components, don't forget about that. And of course, credits to build, and you need to wait a few days or rush it with Platinum. I recommend waiting. Then, WTT means that they want to trade one or more items for another thing. So this person wants to trade all these things. They want to trade a FAS. Oh. I don't actually know what that is. That's apparently some new stuff. So let's just, let me just find another want to trade if there's any in here. Okay, actually I don't need to do with that. Basically, so you get my point. They want to trade one or more items for maybe one or more items. Like, an excellent example would be, someone wanted to trade Norgs, which is these big red-headed fish in the game. They want to trade a bunch of Norgs for a good-looking caveat imprint. So you give them a caveat imprint that looks kind of good, and they'll maybe give you, I don't know, 10 Norgs. It might not be a good deal, it might be a good deal. I just thought of that off the top of my head. So that's what WTT stands for. Then a lot of times, people will also display numbers behind their thing, and it'll either end with P, or it will either end with, where is it? This thing right here. So even though, let me just click it a few times. So even though it looks like you're just saying like double dot platinum double dot. I forget what that's called, but yeah, even if it looks like you're saying platinum weirdly, it's actually a command. So if you type it in, it will just display the icon of platinum. So when people are trading, if they type a number followed by P, that's like trade lingo or trade what do you call it? I forget the name here, but basically that means this means here that they want to either buy something for this amount of platinum or they want to sell something for a certain amount of platinum. And if they don't link any amount of platinum, like this guy wants to buy a mod called Adaptation. This is the mod right here. I could actually sell that to them if I want. And since they are saying unranked, that also means that they want it not ranked up. So they don't want any endo put into the mod to make it better for one reason or another. But since they aren't displaying an amount of platinum here, what you'd normally do is you'd click their name, then click talk. This opens up a screen, and then I type in here, hello or hi or whatever. I would like to buy a mod. What price are you willing to sell it for? Because if they don't display a price themselves, that usually means that they're ready to negotiate prices. And sometimes people also type no neg. That means they're not willing to negotiate. Basically, negotiation is just like, you usually settle for a price somewhere in the middle. The person selling it will say like, I want this certain mod for 100 platinum. And you say, that's a little too much for me. And they're like, what about 98 platinum? And then you start basically haggling with each other like real traders in like the medieval times in like old England would do. It's kind of actually funny to think about and fun to do, but it has basically started grating on me more and more as time has went on. Okay, now that I've explained how all this actually works, I'm going to explain why all this stuff is basically getting me frustrated and why I don't prefer Warframe's trading system as much as I do compared to World of Warcraft's or Guild Wars 2 at all. This is the reason why. Sure, there are all these things, like people saying, like, want to buy Nyx Prime set for 60 platinum. The thing is, you don't know if this is a good deal or not. In fact, right now here, I don't know if it's a good deal or not. This person could be utterly trying to rip you off, or they could have a really, really great deal. And the way you'd actually figure that out is, well, how I figure it out anyway, and this way isn't even perfect. In fact, I'm probably not even doing it the best way. I just go to warframe.market, and that's literally what you type into your Google Firefox search bar or whatever. You press enter, you go over to the place called warframe.market, and then I try and edit that out. That was just me coughing. Yeah, so you go to warframe.market, and then you try and find. What I usually do is I just go through and find a price that's somewhere in the middle. So I'll look at all the really stuff that looks like it's priced way too high, then look at the stuff that's priced really, really low, and I look at the general price of what people are pricing it as, and I try to find a price similar to what most people are pricing it at, because that should be the current price for this thing. But the thing is, I don't even know if it's the current price for things, because there are different websites in Warframe.market. I just don't know how they work too well, and Warframe.market's the easiest to use. So that's why I use Warframe.market. But the thing I really don't like is, I kind of got in the back of my head that I could be potentially scamming myself without even knowing it constantly, even though I'm probably not. And sometimes prices fluctuate heaps. Like a really great example I'm going to give you here, hold on, let me just remove this again so it's not in the way, is there's this one Warframe YouTuber called Neoness and then a bunch of numbers. So what he did a while ago is he made a video on how to get a lot of platinum fast. It sounds like clickbait, but it actually wasn't clickbait. He had his shit together and he knew what he was doing. So he basically said, what you do is you go and you farm, all the Warframes that are like the newest Prime Warframe that's currently came out. So when he was talking about this was ages ago. This was years ago in the past. So the current Prime Warframe that had just came out was Mesa Prime. So he was talking about Mesa Prime and how you would just farm her parts as quickly as you could while the price is still really high, because he called it something like new price syndrome. It's kind of the same with Black Friday sales, like especially when the newest Call of Duty comes out, or the newest a console comes out, like the PlayStation 4 or the Xbox One. It's not so much like this currently, because in this day and age, you can just get a lot of things online and order it and have it like to be delivered by postal trucks and stuff and like order it off Amazon. But in the past, you couldn't really do that. So you literally had people camping outside stores in America, like GameStop, waiting for the day that the new console was released so they can get in, get it. And I really mean camping. Like, some people would actually set up tents and camp outside with like food and water and that kind of stuff to make sure they don't like get dehydrated or really, really hungry. And I honestly find that kind of a little bit insane. Like, I'd never go to that much length. I'm actually completely the opposite, where I wait till games and stuff are on sale on Steam before I actually get them. I'm a bit of a cheapskate, if you already know. I might have mentioned that a few times with the Good Wars 2 videos. Anyway, so people will do that. It's the exact same with new Warframes and Primes that come out. That new thing syndrome kicks in and people are like, the new thing, I gotta have it now. So they'll pay way more money than they need because either they've traded a heap of really expensive stuff and money is no issue to them, or they straight up bought the platinum with real money and they have a lot of disposable income. Which again, is not a bad thing, as that's how you want to play and do Warframe. That's completely up to you. It's your own choice. But that is what people did. Then the price would rapidly start dropping after the new Warframe is introduced. So if you want a cheaper Warframe, if you want the Warframe cheaper, you just wait until after it's already out, like for a while. But the thing about that is that's not really happening anymore, because what's happening lately is something called a Warframe overload. I'm not sure if this is the correct term for it, but I'm going to explain this really well right here. So here is all the Warframes I have. I have an absolute crapload of them. Some people even probably have more. Like other YouTubers who want to basically review a little bit of everything probably have some Warframes I haven't even touched. Like, I've got multiple versions of the same Warframe, like Loki and Loki Prime, but they would have all kinds of other stuff. Like, they'd actually have Hydroid, they'd have the new one, they'd have Grendel, they'd have Gas, another newish one. I don't even have Frost because they have Frost Prime, so I don't need Frost. But the thing about this is, because there are so many Warframes, you kind of... What happened with me, anyway, is that I found a Warframe or a few I really like, and some of the Warframes I own, I don't even really use that much. Like, a really good example is, I built Revenant, but I just haven't bothered to use Revenant because I just find the Warframes I already have really fun playing, and it's just never crossed my mind to equip him, level him up, and figure out what his abilities do, because I already know what all the abilities do of other Warframes. Really great example here is Mirage. She's one of my favorites, just I find her entire kit really fun, so Hall of Mirrors, Sleight of Hand equips, and all that, so basically, yeah, I find this kit really fun to play with. So Hall of Mirrors makes it you make clones, and this one makes it that if you're in darkness, your defense is increased, and if you're in light, oh wait, it's the opposite. So when you're in shadows, your attack is increased, and when you're in life, you're more difficult to track and harder to hurt. So like that's kind of like a defense ability. So I really like all these abilities, but then you have some stuff like a really good example is Saren or Saren Prime. Now, personally, I just don't really like Saren's playstyle because I just find it boring. If you don't find it boring, that's totally fine. If you enjoy Saren, that's totally fine. But she is very much a nuke Warframe. She excels at it. So her fourth ability is called, I think, Miasma, where basically she makes this viral cloud just explode from herself and kill nearly all the enemies in the area. So if you have Saren who can do that, and you can basically scale the damage up to a really, really high level, then in a way, why would you need Nova? Why would you need to have her ability, number 4, Molecular Prime, which doesn't actually kill the enemies immediately? It just makes them really, really vulnerable to damage, and then afterwards they explode when you shoot them. And then, if you got those two, and if for some reason you weren't using Oberon as healing, why would you even want Oberon? Because Oberon's number 4, if you were using him for just that, is basically a weaker version, just straight up is weaker than Nova Prime and Saren's. It's totally fine if you like this Warframe and just like to play him or it or whatever because of the playstyle, because I do the exact same thing. I don't care if Warframes are weaker, I only care if they're fun. But another good example is like Garuda here. Her like life-stealing and healing abilities function kind of the same as Valkyria, so you have one, the playstyles are different, but if you really needed to, you could get one and not get the other. So because of this, And because new warframes come out so quickly, people used to be a lot more excited about a new warframe coming out. But now, they aren't really, because there is kind of just an overload. Even if it sometimes feels like a little too many to choose from. So, yeah, basically, that's what I mean by, like, the price. And because of that, because of all this, like, because so many people aren't even really that interested in a lot of the new warframes that come out, a lot of times new primes that come out will be worth much less than they did in the past. Neoness was correct in the past when he said, like, Mesa Prime at, like, the very first day could net you a massive 700 platinum, but now, on the very first day, she's probably only get, like, if Mesa Prime would come out right now, at this point in time, she'd probably only get you about, 200 platinum. So, yeah, that's what I meant by just new warframes coming out and people just generally choosing their favorites and that kind of stuff. And also, even when even when the new warframes were coming out and Mesa Prime was worth 700, you could kind of potentially basically grind yourself out in the game. So Warframe is a very grindy game, and just how it works and how opening relics works and everything, you might not get all the Mesa Prime pieces you want, so you might spend ages getting it, and by that time the price already drops from 700 because you weren't quick enough at getting it. You basically really, really had to go and just grind hard to get the relics, and then open the relics, hope you get the right pieces, get a full Mesa Prime set, and sell it quick before the price drops from 700 in the past, which I don't really like doing because I like playing this game really, really casually. And now I'm going to basically, now moving on from that, I'm going to explain another problem I have with Warframe's just general economy. And that is the main source of Prime Warframes and Prime weapon parts, Void Relics. I couldn't put my finger on this for ages because I thought I'd be just complaining about something completely inconsequential and just be thinking, I was thinking in the back of my mind, oh come on Cheese, this is nothing really to complain about because it isn't that bad. But now that I think about it, it's actually a little worse than I thought, and generally I do have critiques for this, so I'm going to explain it. In other videos, I probably explained how a Void Relic works before, but I'm going to explain it again. So, how these things work is you go into Void Fissure missions, which make a lot more enemies spawn than usual, and the enemies drop this yellow juice called reactant, and if you get 10 of it, then, which is really easy to do by the way, then your Void Relic will open. And once your Void Relic is opened, it will give you a random chance at one of 6 items that you can get at the end of the mission. You also get a certain amount of Void Traces for doing that mission, which is increased by resource boosters, by the way. So, the item you are most likely to get nearly all the time is a common item, or a brown, or a bronze, whatever you call it. These two things up here with this brown little bar below them that even says common. So these are the items you're most likely going to get, especially if you don't upgrade the relic. So you're either going to get a Saran Prime Neuroptics, a Former Blueprint, and a Spira Prime Blueprint. So this already dilutes the pool a little bit if you wanted a certain thing. Here's really what I mean by this. I currently have 2 List C5 relics. What would I do if I wanted a Saran Prime Neuroptics from this? Well, I wouldn't upgrade the relic, because upgrading the relic, as you can see here, changes the values that you get stuff. So you are actually less likely to get the brown or the common items if you fully upgrade your relic than you are to get the uncommon items and especially the rare one. The rare one does go up a decent amount in with chance of how much you get it. So the best bet I'd have here is to run with these relics, and by that I mean play the mission with these relics, open them by getting the reactant, and then hoping I get the Saran Prime piece. The thing is, I might get a Spira Prime Blueprint, or I might get a Former Blueprint, or I might get 2 Former Blueprints, or I might even get one of the rare items, which it would normally be nice, but I in this case want the Saran Prime Neuroptic. Even though it's easier to get, you may want this because this may be the last part you need to complete a Saran Prime set. Let's say you got the Valkyria Prime Neuroptic instead. It's a rarer piece, so I guess kinda yay, but then you don't have your Saran Prime set complete, so you may need to trade with another player. Then, if you so that's basically explained how like void relics work. Oh yeah, by the way, I forgot to explain, but if you play a mission with multiple people, then you will be able to select someone else's someone else's void relic instead. So let me explain how that works. So if I wasn't playing on my own and I went in a mission with this list C5 relic, and let's say I got a former blueprint, which is what I didn't even want. But another person, a friend of mine, we'll just call them Bill. Bill comes in and he is using a list C4 relic. So when he opens it, he doesn't get something, like he doesn't get any of these rarer items, he just gets a Paris Prime lower limb. Let's say I want a Paris Prime lower limb because it's the last part I need to complete a Paris Prime, like the bow, or the last part I need to build it. I could then select his relic and then choose what he gets in his relic instead of mine. So, and you can, and the more people there are, up to 4 people, because that's the maximum you can have in a squad. That's then you can just generally pick out of each relic. But that also means you sometimes have 2 choices of the exact same thing. In other words, Bill here could get a form blueprint because that's one of the rewards you can get, and I can get a form blueprint. So no matter which one we choose, we just have a form blueprint anyway, if it's the 2 of us. Now I'll explain how void traces work. So, you gain void traces at the end of the mission. It's a set amount that you can't increase in any way except by using a resource boost. It's just a randomly generated amount that you will get at the end. And you can pay a certain amount of void traces to upgrade one of your relics. In fact, let me just find one of my relics here that I actually want to upgrade. Okay, this is an excellent example. I actually want the Loki Prime chassis, however you say it. So, what you would do is you would click on one of these things and spend that amount of void traces. So here, I'm spending 100 out of my 350. You click it, then you click Refine to Radiant, and it plays this neat little information, and the lights will light up. So this is actually an excellent way of telling how much void juices has been, or like void traces, has been stuck into a void relic. It will, if it's just nothing's been done to it, it'd be called intact and no lights lit up. If it's if 50 have been put in, then yeah, 50 of them no wait, not 50, 25 have been put in, it's called an exceptional and 1 light will light up. Then flawless is 2 light. You get the idea. So by putting more void traces in, you increase the chances of yourself getting rare items, like you can see here right now, because I've clicked on this, and also by mousing over it, this little golden bar and this silver bar here will start filling up, and the brown bar will start decreasing. But don't actually listen to this. This is actually kind of fooling you. I'm not even sure why the game designers even put this in the game, because this right here, if you were looking at this and you were treating this as a bar being filled up, I call that a ridiculously small amount. Like, you'd have a 50% chance to get it. But then, you click on this and look at Radiant and go, whoa, I have almost an 85% or 80% chance to get the rare item. This is wonderful. No, not really. Because, I'm going to try and put a little arrow down here. Basically, what's being displayed right here, when I move over this, is the real chance you get at it. So, basically, you have a really, really terrible chance to, get the rare items, even if you put the maximum amount of void traces in this thing. And so basically that's how the system works. Now, why I'm not too okay with the system is because how it kind of bleeds into trading. So, how do you get void relics, you ask? Well, it's an excellent question, and I'll show you. You do missions like this one here, Everest. This is an excavation mission. This has actually been an excellent time to do it, because excavation missions on nearly all planets have a good chance at drilling up void relics. And in this case, you would actually be you'd be drilling up void relics because it is an excavation mission, and if you choose the Fisher version of it, you'd be opening void relics as well, because more enemies will be spawning and dropping that void juice I just talked about. So you'd be opening void relics while getting void relics. It's kind of a win-win situation, and this is generally the best way to do it if you have a lot of void relics. But let's say you're just starting out as a new player, and you didn't have any void relics whatsoever. You click on Everest here, and then you click the regular mission, and you start it, and you start drilling and protecting the excavators. But since you're new, you'd have to exit at around usually wave 10, because at that point the Grenier get to level 25, and they start using these really powerful guns called the Karak, and they'll just pew 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 pow, and the excavators don't actually have that much health. So even if you have a lot of health, the excavators will generally get destroyed really quickly, and unless you have a lot of people to protect you, even a frost warframe to put like a snow globe over it to protect it, or a limbo or something, it gets destroyed very quickly. I've used some of my best guns in the game, and I just haven't been fast enough to kill the Grenier, so they're still destroyed, and I've been playing the game for ages. So, you would then get the Void Relics from that mission, but you don't always get a Void Relic. Sometimes you get a mod. Sometimes you get a mod you don't even want. So you're basically hoping for RNG, which stands for Random Number Generation, to give you a Void Relic off that mission. Then, once you have the Void Relic, you will then go and do Void Relic missions to get the traces that are down here. And if you are lucky, you will want a Void Relic, like the one I just clicked on before, like the C5. And let's say you'll be lucky if you want one of the common items, because that means you don't have to put any Void Juices in it. That means you can actually just go and run the relic straight away to get the common items. But let's say you want the uncommon items, or even the rare items. Your best chance is to just pump the full amount of Void Traces in here, because that will increase the chance you get an uncommon item, as well as increasing the chance you get the rare item. So, let's say you got 2 relics with the parts in it you want from that mission, the excavation mission on Earth. Then, you get both relics, you play more Void missions, and I'm talking about generally, with a booster, I've sometimes gotten around 30 Void Traces. So let's say that's the average amount you get. That means you would have to do 4 missions, getting 30 Void Traces, like Fisher missions, where you open other relics that you don't really care about. So, you can also play the missions with no relics, but then generally people look at you like, what are you doing, because you have a chance to open a relic here. So, to get those 2 relics to Radiant, you would need 200 Void Traces. And since, let's say you're getting basically around about, for a rough estimate, 30 traces each time you've done the mission. That means you have to do each mission 4 times. So, that is 8 times doing the same mission over and over and over again to get enough traces to put into your Void Relics. But the drop chances in Warframe are pretty terrible in my opinion, so what will most likely happen, especially if you're going for the rare item, is you won't get the rare item. Then since you don't get the rare item, you feel disappointed after opening the 2 relics, and then you're left with a heap of prime items, usually called prime junk, that you don't want because you're mostly getting the common stuff, which everyone has, so it can't even really sell for much. So you just give this stuff to Barrow Katir and hope you can amass enough ducats, which is his premium currency that only he uses for some odd reason, so you can buy the items off him, so you can maybe potentially trade it in the trade chat for platinum, if anyone even wants it. And that is just basically one of the basic ways you can get platinum, like opening relics and such. You might be thinking, hey Cheese, what if I sell the relics? Nearly no one wants to buy your relics unless they are radiant, so that still means you have to grind for stuff. If you're selling intact relics, a lot of people won't buy them, and you're lucky if they're going to be worth 1 platinum per relic. Yes, you're going to be lucky if they're worth the minimum amount of platinum per relic. Or even then, sometimes not then. Sometimes you may sell 4 intact relics, so 4 base value relics, not even upgraded, for 2 platinum. So, basically, the relics are worth half a platinum, which is like less than 1. It's kind of insane. So, let's say you were just thinking, okay, what about I don't know, get platinum some other way? Okay, let's say you were then going to see this. In fact, I can go there right now. And let's say you thought, hey, I want to go fishing. I want to go and fish a bunch of fish to, I want to go and fish a bunch of fish to catch them and then sell them on the market for platinum. Oh, I'm out here. I didn't even mean to do that. I meant to be inside see this, but the good thing is it's really quick to get inside. Just waiting for it to load here. Shouldn't take that long. The progress summary says I've got nothing because I really did nothing out there. So, let's say you were just starting out as a new player and you wanted to fish. You would actually still have to pretty much grind to go fishing. And this is why. This is Fisher High Luck. She's the lady who sells all the different types of fish. So you'd click Browse Wares. Okay, so the very first thing you'd need is a fishing spear. So to get a fishing spear, you'd have to do 1 or 2 missions for Konzu, like just shooting a bunch of grenades. This is a thing that's actually easy enough to get. Then, what you really, really would want is doing a few more missions so you can buy this luminous dye blueprint, which you can build over and over and over again. Then, you need to gather the materials in the plains of Eidolon to get the luminous dye. What does luminous dye actually do? It makes it so the fish glow. Fish, especially in the right lighting conditions, can be nearly impossible to see if you don't have the glowing fish stuff. Then, after you have the glowing fish stuff, you have to start fishing for a bunch of basic fish. Then, after you have the basic fish, you have to have enough, whatchamacallit, you have to have enough, standing with Cetus by, usually trading in the fish you have or doing more Grenier missions to buy the Twilight Bait. Then once you have the Twilight Bait, it attracts fish that usually at night. So you go to the ocean, throw it in, and then you get the Kakina. The Kakina is one of the fish that people might actually want to buy, as well as the Sharak here, which is basically a play on words for the word shark, I'm pretty sure. So once you have these fish, then you basically chop them up to get parts, like their parts, and you use their parts and more standing to buy more bait for other fish such as the Glapid, the Cutho, the Glapid, and the Norg and Merke. And these other fish that generally everyone will actually want. And even then, even though they are the rare fish, the small variants will generally sell for very little because people always want the big variants because the big variants provide a lot of standing, and people will either buy fish to get standing or they'll either buy fish to get standing or they will buy fish to get standing by trading it into the people of Cetus, like this fisher lady, or they will buy fish to chop themselves and build items with it because this is actually used to build a bunch of endgame stuff that I'm not going to spoil. Then, what if you wanted to go mining? Well, that's actually a little easier, but the thing is, this is actually a little bit of a trap because if we go to the mining tab here and go to the wares, there are all these mining tools you can buy. This starts off with this one, the basic one called the Nozam Cutter. And then you have this one here, the Focused Nozam Cutter, and then the Advanced Nozam Cutter. And the thing is, you don't want to buy any of these at all. You want to go to Fortuna instead, which is one of the newer ice maps, and buy their gem mining tool because it is straight up better than every single gem mining tool here. And you should completely avoid this place, which means to do that, let me just leave Cetus again. You would have to get off Earth, make your way to Venus, and then fight your way to Fortuna. So you would basically, as I was saying, you have to get off Earth, do the Venus junction to verse this like little enemy. Then you'd go, okay, where do I go now? Okay, so I go to Venus. Then you'd end up here at E-Gate. Then you fight your way to this one, and then you get to Fortuna. Then, once you're at Fortuna, to actually trade with the people, you have to do the very first quest, the Vox Solaris quest, which can make it actually a little bit hard to do for a new player. In fact, I have a video on how to get Garuda, and the first thing you have to do is that Vox Solaris quest, so I'll link it in the description, because if you want to know how to do that. So yeah, that's what you do if you go mining. For a new player, I wouldn't recommend doing conservation at all, which is another way you, Oh wait, this is making platinum, I forgot. Oh yeah, conservation is only for earning standing with these factions. They don't earn any platinum for them. So, that is generally why I am a little bit ticked off at all this kind of stuff, because it can generally be very hard to earn platinum for new players. Also, it cannot be very rewarding sometimes, because sometimes you were just sitting in trade chat like this for ages, scrolling through all these things. And let's say you're only really wanting to sell stuff to people, you could then type in this filter text WTB, and then it would only really display the things that people basically saying WTB, like they want to buy stuff, which lessens this much more. But then you don't really see as much of these things here because, well, not necessarily everyone is wanting to actually buy stuff. A lot of people are wanting to sell stuff. There's also a lot of people wanting to trade stuff. Another thing I don't really like about Warframe's trade system is because there's no in-game auction house like in Guild Wars 2 or in World of Warcraft, you can get potentially scammed. In fact, I scammed myself, and I'll tell you how. I had a Silver Prime set, which is kind of rare and kind of an old weapon. A lot of people actually want this thing. So what I done was I loaded up Warframe.market like I usually did, and then I searched up a Silver Prime set, and it displayed it as 20 platinum. So I thought, okay, I'll post it as 20 platinum. Then I went back to the site after I had posted it as 20 platinum, and this is one person, a bunch of people immediately messaged me, and I was like, oh, this weapon is popular, no wonder. No, they were messaging me because I was posting it at a much, much lower price than I really should have been. I posted it at 20 platinum when it should have been 60 or 80. I was basically giving people a bargain bin dollar deal thing, like the stuff you find at those, maybe you have them around where you live, those places called $2 shops where you can literally buy just like a packet of like Oreos for $3, and the Oreos aren't even bad. They're just there because someone had accidentally, like, I don't know, ran over the package with a trolley in the supermarket, and the inside plastic wrap isn't even broken, so they're not even like falling out, they're not even like contaminated or anything. The company just doesn't want to risk the packet looking bad, and some customers going, I'm not buying that, it looks kind of broken. So they sell it at the shop for like $3. I had basically done that equivalent. I was selling my weapon for much lower, and once the person already said I want to buy it, I sold it to them anyway instead of saying no, because I kind of felt really bad for this person, and they were like really excited to get their Silver Prime, and I was kind of a little bit happy to get it, but more than that, I was furious at the fact that I had just conned myself out of a good deal for a Silver Prime, and just given myself a bad deal instead. With Guild Wars 2's auction house and stuff like that, that can't happen. Then, another thing that also ends up happening is that, okay, so there's these certain mods, I need to explain this first. So there's these certain mods called ribbons. Ribbons are... Right, so you're probably wondering right now why the video you're watching right now has just suddenly cut off when I was just about to obviously explain something. The reason why is because I honestly went a bit too ranty in my opinion. Like, honestly, this entire video, most of it anyway so far, has been quite ranty. Well, how do I know this? Obviously, I've been watching all of it through editing and that kind of stuff. And this part, I watched it and listened to it, and in my honest opinion, I just go on a rant about ribbon mods and get way, way too ranty and just complain about some stuff which isn't even around anymore. Like, I complain about some stuff that was in the past, so I have nothing really to complain about. Another thing I also want to address here is the fact that right now I probably obviously sound a lot more chill than I do in the actual video, and that's because I was actually getting a little worked up in the actual video, and yeah, no wonder I was ranting, because this entire thing was getting on my nerves quite a lot. In fact, I don't really think I've been really this angry or frustrated since my Star Wars Empire at War video on my channel a while ago, and for that I had a really good reason for just being, whoa, even more mad than this. So I wanted to say right now, right here, that it's perfectly fine if you dislike the video because of how much I'm ranting. I don't mind at all, even if you're a subscriber of mine and a kind of a subscriber of mine, I mean, and are a fan of my content. It is totally fine for you to dislike the video at this point. Another thing I also want to say is that I'm also cutting this part of the video out and skipping straight to the Guild Wars 2 part right after it, because it's kind of a catch-22 I put myself in when it comes to ribbons. So ribbons are late game content involving stuff, basically involving spoilers. And throughout nearly all of my videos, you've noticed a lot I say, but I won't mention that because that's spoiler stuff and stuff like that. So yeah, I would have been talking about a thing that you can only access if you do really late game story stuff in Warframe, kind of making the whole point completely redundant. And even though there was only like 6 or so minutes left in the video of me just ranting about the ribbon mods, I'm still going to remove it. That being said, I probably am going to talk about the spoiler parts in Warframe in another video at some point, don't know when. I probably am going to cover it, but yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say, and now I'll basically edit this in and go to the Guild Wars 2 part where I kind of praise its economy a bit. And like I said before, if you feel like disliking this video, honestly, you can go ahead. I won't blame you at all. I was quite just, well, frustrated and angry at this whole thing. And if you don't like that and thought I was bashing on Warframe too much and you're a huge fan of it, that's perfectly fine. So, yeah, on to the next part of the video. Guild Wars 2 part, exactly. So, yeah, that's it. Right, so here we are after that cut, like I said. I'm right now in the Gandarian Fields. So if you're wondering where I am, I'm right here next to New Beach Bluffs, and Lion's Arch is right over here. You might be wondering, geez, why are you over here? Well, it's because I want to talk about all this on one of my favorite perching spots, like my favorite just general spots of all time for taking screenshots where I just like to go, and that is right here. So to get here, you can either will need to have gliding, a flying mount like a sky scale or a griffin, and of course have access to Captain Havoc's airship. Actually, you only need to have access to Captain Havoc's airship with the Captain Havoc's airship pass like I have on one of my other characters to get here if you have gliding. Because if you have gliding, right here, let me just zoom into first person, you can just see, oh, hold on, I forgot to just go to my, yeah, that tab, so no one can bother me. So, yeah, it's just called shut off. So, right here is Captain Havoc's airship. And, so that's why I'm saying you need gliding, because right there, here's like the main part of it, you can just jump off it and then glide down to here, which as I explained in the previous video of mine, I'm pretty sure it's the previous video I uploaded, this is the exact same place where I was messing around with a Mesmer character of mine. I said I was probably going to actually delete the one with the Chronomancer video, which was also about how to get Veil Rend, or actually no, Veil Render. I was saying it wrong the entire time, right? So yeah, how you get up here is either flying mount makes it real easy. Use the Springer, which you get from the Pass of Fire, or you just glide down here. Anyway, now that I'm actually here and you know how to get here as well, if you yourself want to I don't know, take screenshots or whatever, I'm going to explain why I like Guild Wars 2's economy way more. So if we just open up the Black Lion trading post, this tab right here, which actually isn't even okay, now it's finally loading properly. It displays basically all the stuff that you can get with gems, the premium currency. So this is the equivalent of Warframe's Platinum. You can also, like, I forgot to mention in the Warframe part of this video, but you can also purchase a lot of cosmetics to make yourself look real fabulous with Platinum. It's the exact same here. So gems is the premium currency, which can be bought with either real money or converted. And if I clicked on this winged headpiece, for instance, you could preview it on your character, and this actually looks quite good in my opinion. And yeah, you could buy it with gems, and then it becomes a permanent unlock that you can then make look like any other armor piece in the game, which I really like. Warframe's got a kind of a similar system where you can like recolor your Warframe whatever you want, put whatever armor piece on that you already have unlocked. So I like both the systems really. The main thing I like about Guild Wars 2 more is if we just go to the trading post and just, let's say, search up bag. Okay, this is kind of, I guess I should search up small bag, because the search function, as you can tell, it's, okay, good. Now it's actually displaying bags, because before it was displaying bolt, which is a legendary weapon. Don't want that, thank you. So I'm just going to look up small bag, actually. Here we are. Good. So, these two are actually really, really good examples. So if we look here, this here is a small ritual bag and a small supply bag. You get these like in really easy ways. This one is generally, I think you get it by killing centaurs, and I definitely know this one right here you get by killing flame legion. So let me just move this to the edge of the screen. If we just zoom out, one of the ways I know you get this a lot, and one of my favorite things to do, is right over here next to these Acorvian foothills and these ruins of Old Gate. What I love to do is I love to teleport here, run in here, go up here, and they will all in this place called Celix Castrum. It's like a Flame Legion camp. It will always have right around here a a deposit of rich iron. So how this game works is a lot like World of Warcraft. You have deposits of resources laying around. So there'll usually be iron scattered around here. There'll usually be trees scattered around the plains of this place, the Dysa Plateau, which is the place it's called, by the way. And then you also, as well as trees, have stuff like onions and pepper and that kind of stuff just spattered about all over the place here. And but the thing is, the game also has not really rare, but it's not called rare. It's called rich. So they sometimes have rich resource patches, which means you get a lot more swings out of your mining or chopping or harvesting equipment than you would on a regular thingamajig. And sometimes you even get twice as much iron per like hit of your pickaxe. Like on a normal iron node, you generally go whack 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 and get 1, 2, 3 iron, sometimes more if you have like boosts and stuff on. But in this case, you get something like 9 whacks, and sometimes each whack will give you like 2 iron each, and it's just awesome in my opinion, and that's why I recommend going there. But anyway, while you're going there, you can then also get small ritual bags. So let me just go out of the map again, and click this. So when it comes to small ritual bags, the price here isn't really that different. So let's say you're a new player just playing the game. The one thing I like about Guild Wars 2's economy a lot more than Warframes is in Warframe, to get a bit of platinum, you have to go through that entire thing I told you about where you have to go and like get relics and then open the relics and use the void traces. In this case, no. You get a ritual bag and you would just... In fact, let me just show you how you do this from another one of my items in my inventory here. This is very excellent. Some mithril ore. You would right-click the item, and then you click Sell at Trading Post, and then it would bring up the Trading Post menu, and then you can either choose to list the item or sell it instantly. How this works is that people around the world in the game will put listings of items that they want to buy, and they will basically type down, I want to buy this thing for such and such money. So here, in this case, for this single piece of mithril ore, per piece of mithril ore, you would be getting 44 copper per mithril ore, minus a little bit of the trading tax. And what I mean by that is if we just go down to selling one piece of mithril ore, there's a listing fee, and then there's an exchange fee. So this is the fee you must pay to list your item on the trading post. The more expensive your item is, the higher this goes. So it's actually really good for new players because you're getting charged hardly anything at all. Then you also have to pay this fee, which is after the item is successfully traded. Like let's say you sell an item on the trading post and sell it to another player. You are both probably, I'm pretty sure you're both paying a fee of 4 copper in this case. The thing I love about this system, though, is that, unlike Warframe, this is so new player friendly. You just right-click your item, click Sell Item, which means you want to sell it, and the game will automatically look for the best deal available and select it for selling it instantly. So if we scroll down here, we can see that there are some people who are ordering mithril ore for much less than the current highest price. So this person right down here, it is probably one person because that number is so even, is ordering mithril ore for only 7 copper each. Now, if I was really stupid here, I could click this, and a new player potentially could as well, but the game is generally directing you away from that. It's directing you to sell it for the highest possible price because that is what most likely what you want. You want to make the most amount of money possible when trading. And and also this number here, 684 available. This basically means that someone somewhere has clicked on mithril ore in the trading post. Let me just bring it up again. And instead of doing what I was doing just there and saying, I would like to sell this, please, they're going, I want to. Okay, the number apparently just. Oh wait, no. Wait, let me just see. So apparently the number has just changed. So instead of saying, I want to sell this, they have gone, I would like to buy this item, and they have listed it as, and like they have listed it for a certain amount of money, because this amount is uneven. Though these are probably like multiple people trying to buy the same thing for the same price. What I mean by that is, let's say there are three separate people in this trade, more than three separate people. Let's say there's like a guy called Bill. He's ordered 64 stacks of 64 mithril. Another person has ordered 100, and another person has ordered 500. They'll all be grouped together in the same amount here because they all want to buy it for the same price. So when ordering when ordering an item, it will generally, again, select the lowest price for you. And I'll explain right now how ordering and selling works. So if you are ordering an item off the trading post, then you can either get the item immediately or get the item probably at a later date. So how this works is right here is these are the current people who are selling the item. So a bunch of different people are selling 655 mithril ore for 49 copper. This price. So how this works is that once 655 copper is bought, that means that all these people are satisfied. All their, not copper, mithril. All their mithril has been delivered. So then the game will go, okay, there are no more people who want to buy mithril at the price of 49 copper. So then what it will do is it will select the next furthest down. It will select from the people who want to buy the mithril at 50 copper like per unit. And it will keep going down, and it will keep doing that right until it gets to the very bottom. So you can nearly always trust the system. In fact, you can pretty much always trust the system to try and buy stuff for you at the lowest possible price and sell it at the highest possible price. It's the same here. Let's say you had let's say you had somehow done a deal with someone or something like that, or who's been gathering with mithril for ages, and you had 10,000 mithril. You could then sell 2,764 of it for 43 copper. That basically, yeah, you could sell the mithril for that much, and then the game would immediately select the next highest amount, which is this amount of mithril, 5,431 for 42 copper, and it would keep going down and down and down, and only if you started selling ridiculous amounts of mithril would you finally get down to the person who wants to order it, who wants to buy it for 7 copper. So that's why I really like the system. Instead of confusing you and everything like Warframe does, Warframe generally doesn't do it all the time, but it can confuse you. This is really, really simple for buying stuff and making money as a new player. The only downside is that, well, actually not really the only downside, but one of the downsides, I guess, is that as a new player, you will be restricted. So what you were viewing there through the trading post, I'm not sure what it looks like for a new account, because I haven't really got myself a new free-to-play account. I may get myself one just to see what it's like playing as one, but some things you just won't be able to list on the trading post, and maybe you aren't allowed to list it for really, really high amounts of money. I'm not really sure. I know there are some restrictions. But the good thing about Guild Wars 2 is the moment you buy one of the expansions, or just the base game once, because it's not a subscription-based game, all of the restrictions are removed forever. And I'm pretty sure this is permanent, but don't quote me on this. But right now, I'm pretty sure Guild Wars 2 has an offer where if you buy Path of Fire, you immediately get Heart of Thorns expansion for free. So you buy the Path of Fire expansion, doesn't even have to be a collector's edition or anything like that. You are enabled to get full access to the entire trading post. You You can start making money no matter how low level your characters are, and you can start getting gold. You can start getting gold no matter how low level you are, just because just after buying the expansion. You don't have to really do anything else. You don't have to do any of the expansion like content, but you can just earn money that way. Now, here is another reason why I really, really like Guild Wars 2's economy generally. It has got very, very stable ways of making money. This is one of them. The daily system. So, how it works is that by completing enough daily tasks, then you will get, straight up, just 2 gold. 2 gold put directly into your inventory. This can be a big deal for a new player, and this is generally how I earned a lot of my money. So much of my money has been gained from doing dailies. And as well as that, you also get 10 achievement points. When you get enough achievement points, you get an achievement chest, which contains exclusive skins, more money, laurels, and sometimes account bonuses. So by just doing this each day, you can very slowly but surely rack up a good amount of money, which I love because I am a person who plays this extremely casually. I'm like more casual than most other casual people I know. I play it so slowly and sluggishly, kind of like a snail's pace actually, but I enjoy that, and that's honestly one of the reasons why I enjoy Guild Wars 2's economies more, is because Warframe, I do play that very casually as well, but I don't really get as far as I have in Guild Wars 2, because everything isn't really set in concrete. Like I explained before, platinum prices are constantly shifting, you have to look up stuff. There's no way you can just go to a random trading post and just look up the current price or something and sell it for a price that you know is like an okay price. Another reason why I also really like Guild Wars 2 its economy is because, unlike Warframe, the login rewards can actually sometimes be really, really good. So, if we go into... Oh, where is it in here? Ah, here it is, achievements. So, if we go into the achievements, you can see what you get for logging in each day. In fact, your very first login reward is probably much better than Warframe. The Warframe, you might get a tiny bit of endo or something for first logging in. You actually get, the rewards get better as you keep logging in Warframe. But honestly, I like this system way more. Because right off the bat, if you are a new player, you get a bag of 2 Mystic Coins. I'll just open that bag right now. So, what are Mystic Coins used for? Mystic Coins are used in the Mystic Forge. It says right here, 2 coins are used to create high-level weapons. However, you probably won't be dabbling in the high-level weapons stuff immediately as a new player, so you can immediately just sell the coins. And as you can see here, once this loads, coins, this is actually dropped in price. They used to be around 1 gold and 50 silver, but this is actually still a huge amount of money that you can get from just logging in. And pretty much everyone will get these coins at a regular date, kind of like drip fed to them through the login system. So it's fair for everyone. You could be a new player just joining into the game, or you could be a veteran like I have with heaps, like thousands, probably thousands of hours of playtime. And no matter who you are, you still get the coins. So I really, really enjoy that. And laurels as well. You can sell them, like you can buy tier 6 material with laurels, and generally get yourself a heap of money as well through that. And then as well as that, this login reward system, once you get right to the end, gives you a chest of loyalty. And once you open that, you have a choice of getting laurels, and you also get an account bonus of 2% more gold finds. So whenever you kill a random enemy in the game, and it drops gold, you will get more. So if I got this up to 100%, which I'm getting very close to doing, I'd be getting 100% more gold off an enemy. If they drop 1 silver, I'd be instead getting 2 silver, which I just find really, really awesome. So yeah, I just generally really like the economy for Guild Wars 2 and all that stuff and how it works. One of the downsides, however, is gem rates, like currency rates. So right here you can see that it takes a lot of money to actually get even not so many gems. In fact, this price has actually dropped, I'm pretty sure, a lot. It used to be around like 47 gold or something like that, or maybe it was a little less. I can't remember. It's been a little while since I played, but yeah, Generally, the gem rates aren't that good, so you need to grind for ages to get the gems. But at least you can do it slowly, where in Warframe's case, you also be doing it slowly, but you have to deal with the trade chat and stuff like that, and I honestly would rather not be dealing with the trade chat. Another thing I also really like about Guild Wars 2's economy is that they haven't increased the max level for ages, so everything is just really, really stable. So here's what I mean by this. This is a new map right here called Gothmar Valley. And I won't spoil what actually it's all about because it would include like main story spoilers. But just know that you can chop elder wood planks here, which is like a level 80 type of tree. The thing is, this same type of level 80 tree you can also find right down here in the Straits of Devastation, and also at this point, Paga's Waypoint, which I recommend going to in one of my previous videos when I said about like really easy to get to gathering locations. The statue right here is covered in trees, and you can just chop the trees and immediately sell them on the trading post to get a very, very good amount of money. And yeah, just generally, it's like I said, a good amount of money. But also, since the level hasn't increased, this game hasn't ran into World of Warcraft's problem. What do I mean by World of Warcraft's problem? Well, as you're leveling up in World of Warcraft, it used to be that you could just level up to level 60, and in that case, the economy was more stable. The stuff that we would gather when you're around level 58 or level 60 was worth a decent amount. But as the game, as time dragged on and the game was updated, the levels have gone up from 60 to, I'm pretty sure, level 100, or maybe it's even 120 by now. It's ridiculous. So then you have some stuff in the middle levels, like around level 40 materials, that you'd gather, and they would be completely worthless because no one would even want them. And then the very first stuff you'd be gathering, maybe like copper ore, wouldn't be worth that much either. I guess it would be worth a bit because some people just want to level up their blacksmithing profession right from the start, and they can't be bothered to buy the copper ore off the gather it themselves. They just want to buy it off the trading post, and I can understand because I sometimes spent ages gathering copper ore to level up blacksmithing when I realized I shouldn't even bother because I just created a new really high level character in a game called a Death Knight, and they need much, much better armor anyway. And I was getting good enough armor from dungeons. Anyway, enough World of Warcraft ranting. Yeah, generally that's one thing I really like about the game is that Guild Wars 2 has had its level remain 80 for ages. So a lot of places like Frostgorge Sound and then Bitterfrost Frontiers are some of kind of the new-ish maps, and then another one, Bloodstone Fen, one of my favorites. It's right over here. I guess I just haven't been there. It's right over here. They all have the same type of tree. So you can basically go to heaps of different locations gathering different types of trees, and they will all sell for the same amount. Elderwood, like they called Elderwood planks. And unlike World of Warcraft, it's generally the economy is more stable. It isn't going all over the place. Guild Wars 2 does, however, have some stuff which is not too great about that. I can show you an excellent example with silver ore. So, wait, that's not how you spell it. That's sliver. So with silver ore here, it's worth nearly nothing. In fact, the price has actually dropped. This is worth. I wish it was still worth around 20 copper. And the reason why it's worth nearly nothing is because you're only really using this for one thing. You're only really using this to leveling up the jewel crafter profession. And because of that, everyone has way too much of this stuff. If you're not leveling up the jewel crafter profession, you're usually mining a lot of silver ingot, like silver ore, like I am, and you're generally not using it for anything, and then you're generally just selling it on the market, and the only people who are buying it are jewel crafters. So some things in this game have the same problem as World of Warcraft and Warframe, where they are completely worthless, but honestly, it's not that many of them. Also, you have the same problem with dyes. Like some dyes, in fact, let me just type in dye in the search bar. Some dyes, like this red dye here, because everyone is constantly unlocking it, it's really, really worthless. And if you get an unidentified dye, which means you don't know what kind of dye it is, you could potentially get one of the really rare ones, like Urn dye here. But I honestly just keep on selling every single unidentified dye I have, because I usually just get something like a sour dye. I'm like, oh, I wish I got a tarot dye instead, and I could probably earn more money from the identified dye. So, yeah, Guild Wars 2, of course, does have its little things that are worth hardly any amounts of money, but generally I like the game a lot more because the economy is more stable and you can generally also daily stuff and that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's pretty much the explanation of why I actually wish Warframe had an auction house, because yes, the prices would dip heaps, but eventually they would stabilize, and then you wouldn't have to constantly go around and haggle with people, which also I get a little bit frustrated with. I like the fact that I can just go and immediately click something and buy it and just get it immediately in Guild Wars 2 and not have to worry about haggling. So that's also a nice upside. And also it's better and more user friendly for newer players. Even though World of Warcraft's auction house isn't as stable as Guild Wars 2, it's still better and more user friendly, I guess. Well, I guess in both games you could actually go for the trap of buying low level weapons when you're like low level as a new player. Don't ever do that. You're gonna just level up and get new weapons. Only buy stuff off the auction house if you know it's actually good. Probably if you have a friend that can confirm it's good and you are max level. Even then, you might be better off just getting loot from dungeons and stuff. Oh yeah, before I end this video, the other thing that I wanted to mention that I really, really like about Guild Wars 2 is that dungeons are currently all selling, like their stuff sells for like a constant price. So you could just be level 30, go into the Escalonian Catacombs and sell all your loot. You get as much money as if you were level 80 because just everything is still dropping the same amount of loot. It might be slightly actually different compared to your level, but generally it's all worth the same, and you still will get like a cash bonus of like 50 silver at the end. So that's what I also really, really like about dungeons. Yeah, that's actually, and that is actually a good, pretty much good point to end it, because that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about, and I hope you can see why now I wish Warframe had an auction house like Guild Wars 2, and why I like earning currency way more in Guild Wars 2, and why I think it's a bit of bad game design. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope this wasn't too much of a super long rant for you.